In the quiet town of Red River, Oklahoma, everyone knew the rumble of the road reapers before they saw them. Their bikes weren't just machines. They were thunder announcing that justice still rode the highways. Among them was Cole Tanner, a man with a face carved by wind and wool. He was a kind of man who didn't talk much, but when he did, people listened. Cole had left behind a life of violence in the army, building a small repair shop on the edge of town. His world revolved around two things: his daughter Emily and the Brotherhood of the Reapers. Emily was 19, bright-eyed, and known for her kind heart. She'd just started her first semester at Red River Community College. She was a kind of girl who smiled at everyone, even strangers, and believed people were mostly good. Cole always worried about her, but she insisted he didn't have to. "You raised me tough, Dad," she'd say, laughing as she tied her hair back and grabbed her helmet. She rode a small bike herself, an old 250 cubic centimeters that she'd rebuilt with her father. One late Friday night, after a campus event, Emily didn't come home. Cole called her phone. No answer. By midnight, panic set in. He called her friends, the sheriff, anyone who might have seen her. Nobody had. The next morning, her bike was found abandoned behind the Ridgeview Motel, scratched with a phone crushed beside it. That was when everything inside Cole Tanner broke. The sheriff, a weary man named Dalton Briggs, told him they were looking into it. But Cole saw the hesitation in his eyes, the nervous glance toward town. He knew that look. Someone powerful was involved. 2 days later, Emily was found wandering near a riverbank, bruised and terrified, her clothes torn, her voice trembling. She couldn't remember everything, but she remembered a name: Tyler Mason, the son of Robert Mason, one of the richest developers in Red River County. The Mason family practically owned half the town. Tyler was known for his arrogance, his flashy cars, and the way his father's money cleaned up his messes. Cole sat beside his daughter's hospital bed, his hand gripping hers as the truth burned inside him. He had seen evil before, overseas, but seeing it touch his little girl, that was something different. When the sheriff came by, Cole didn't need to hear the excuses. "We can't arrest without proof, Cole," Dalton said softly. "You know how his father is." Cole's jaw clenched. He didn't say a word. He just nodded once and walked out. That night, he called a meeting at the Reapers clubhouse. The air was thick with smoke and silence as the men gathered around. These weren't criminals. They were veterans, mechanics, truckers, men who had built their own family from pain and loyalty. When Cole told them what happened, nobody spoke for a long time. Then Hawk, a tattooed giant who'd served with Cole in Afghanistan, slammed his fist on the table. "That boy hurt your daughter, and the law won't do a damn thing about it." Cole looked up, eyes cold as steel. "Then we'll handle it our way." The Reapers had a code. They didn't start fights, but they finished them. Tyler Mason thought his money made him untouchable. He'd grown up in gated mansions, driving sports cars, sneering at the men who worked with their hands. But what he didn't understand was that real men, the kind who bleed, who stand by their word, don't run from justice. Over the next few days, the Reapers watched him. They saw him laugh outside the bar, flirt with girls, and drive his black Camaro like nothing had happened. Cole followed quietly, burning with rage but waiting, planning. He didn't want blind vengeance. He wanted truth and proof. Hawk managed to talk to one of Tyler's friends, a nervous kid who finally broke under pressure. He bragged about it. The kid whispered, said she was just some biker's kid, that no one would believe her. That was enough. Cole didn't call the police this time. He called his brothers. At midnight, the Reapers rode out. 20 men on roaring Harleys, their headlights slicing through the dark as they rolled toward Mason's private ranch. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about justice that the law had refused to give. The guards at the gate didn't stop them. Nobody dared when they saw those patched vests glinting in the light. Road Reapers, skull and wings, the emblem of men who didn't bluff. They parked in silence, the night filled with the ticking of cooling engines. Cole walked up to the front door alone and knocked. Robert Mason opened it, dressed in silk pajamas and arrogance. "What the hell is this?" he barked. Cole's voice was low. "Where's your boy?" "Get off my property," Mason said. "You people have no..." Cole cut him off. "My daughter has bruises on her face and his name on her lips. That's all the reason I need." Tyler appeared at the top of the stairs, shirtless and smirking. "What's he doing here, Dad?" he laughed. "You gonna arrest me, old man?" Cole didn't answer. He took one slow step forward. Hawk and the others spread out behind him, silent as a storm waiting to break. "You think your money makes you safe?" Cole said, voice trembling with rage. "You think your father can buy your soul clean?" Robert Mason tried to speak, but Cole's glare stopped him cold. "Your boy hurt the wrong family," he said. "And tonight, you're gonna understand what that means." Tyler sneered, stepping down the stairs. "You touch me, I'll have you all locked up." Before he could finish, Hawk grabbed him by the collar and dragged him outside. The others followed, holding Robert back. The night exploded with shouting, tires crunching on gravel, and Tyler's arrogance turning to panic. Cole didn't hit him right away. He just stood over him as the boy stammered. "It was just a joke, man. I didn't mean..." Cole knelt down, his voice quiet but deadly. "You took something from her she can never get back. You broke her spirit. So I'm gonna break your comfort." The Reapers didn't kill him. That wasn't their way. They stripped his car, smashed his phone, and left him tied to the gates of his father's mansion, beaten and humiliated, with a sign hanging around his neck that read, "No man is above justice." When the sheriff arrived the next morning, the story spread like wildfire. Tyler Mason was arrested after a friend confession and the new evidence the Reapers anonymously delivered, a video recording of his bragging. His father's empire crumbled as the town turned against him. But the Reapers didn't stay for the credit. They disappeared back into the wind, back to their shop, their rides, and their quiet lives. Cole sat on his porch that night, Emily beside him, her head resting on his shoulder. She was healing, slowly. "Did you hurt him, Dad?" she asked softly. Cole looked out at the road, where the sun was bleeding into the horizon. "I hurt his pride," he said. "The rest he did to himself." Emily nodded, tears in her eyes. "Thank you." He turned to her, his voice gentle now. "No, sweetheart, thank the men who still remember what justice means." Weeks later, the town of Red River held a fundraiser for survivors of assault. Emily spoke that day, her voice trembling but strong. She didn't mention names. She just said one thing that made everyone fall silent. When the law looked away, good men rode in, she said. Not because they had to, but because they couldn't stand to see wrong win. And when the engines of the road reapers echoed in the distance, the crowd stood and applauded. Some said what they did was illegal. Others said it was heroic. But those who knew Cole Tanner and the brotherhood that followed him understood one truth. Justice isn't always written in books or spoken in courts. Sometimes it rides on two wheels and wears a leather vest. If you believe bikers can be heroes too, share this story. Subscribe channel.